I feel like we might have reached a point where internet drama might be AI generated because every single day something just so weird just happens that the only thing that you can do is ask yourself why. Like a person or a company will come out and do something so confusing, you wonder, what do you gain from doing something like that? And the thing that makes this really frustrating is that most of the time you never get an answer. You're just left infinitely confused, and the only thing that you can do is just come up with theories why this ended up happening. And something like that ended up happening not so long ago, because Capcom ended up putting DRM in 10-year-old games, just completely pissing off the whole community. So I'm pretty sure if you've been on somewhere like Twitter or just on the internet in general, you probably saw all the headlines and popular tweets of people talking about that Capcom is an absolutely terrible company, you need to stay away from them because they are installing malware onto your PC, this is dangerous, get out of here. Because they decided to work with this brand new DRM company, they're extremely shady, we have to run away from Capcom evil company. Now, I'm pretty sure when we all saw something like that, most people are like, wow, this is pretty insane. What's going on? Obviously, a lot of people are talking about it. So this is something that I wanted to look in on and want to see what's going on. So all of this drama started with a game that ended up coming out in 2013, Resident Evil Revelation. Currently right now, if you go on Steam, the brand new reviews of this game are just overwhelmingly negative. That is because Capcom ended up adding DRM onto this game. Now, before I continue on, I should probably explain what DRM is, because I remember last time I decided to talk about something like this, I brought up source code, and I just never explained what it was, and some people were left confused. So, like a good content creator, I'm going to learn from my mistake. Now, yes, I know, I'm an amazing person, thank you. Now, DRM basically exists to stop people from cracking the game when it first gets released, mainly so they can stop piracy, because obviously if you spend millions of dollars to make a AAA game, you're obviously going to want it to make money back. And if someone is just able to crack the game immediately and just pirate it, that's obviously going to be extremely bad. That's why companies install DRM to basically make that process harder, because I think they know that it's going to be physically impossible to stop people from pirating games, but if they could just stop some people from doing it because it's just so complicated, that's really just all you need to do. Now, the most DRM that most big companies use is something that's called de novo, and if you have been in the gaming space, you have definitely heard that name before because tons of people have been talking about it. Now, I don't know why everyone uses this company. I don't know if they make the best DRM software or if they just use it because everyone else uses it, because I think it's pretty well known that big tech companies and just companies in general are just extremely insecure, and every time when they see someone else following a trend, they just have to do it too. And that's why companies install DRM. So I know what you're thinking. That makes sense. Why do so much people hate it? Well, they don't like it because most of the time, DRM, like de novo, absolutely ruins the customer who is actually paying for the game. A good example of this is something like Resident Evil 4 Remake that ended up releasing last year. Because of the DRM inside of the game, the people who actually bought the game through Steam actually ended up getting a worse experience, because a lot of people were saying that they were having frame drops. So basically the person who pirates the game, who doesn't pay for it, they get a version of the game without DRM. So they are actually getting a better experience than the person who actually paid $60 to get the game. And I think you can see how dumb that is. It obviously shouldn't be like that. And that's the main reason why most people hate DRM. So to see Capcom randomly install it into a game like Resident Evil Revelations, a game that is around 10 years old, and something that has already been emulated and probably pirated millions of times, why would they go and do something like this? Now, the main reason why them doing this is making people so mad is because of two reasons. One, the DRM company that Capcom ended up trusting seems to be extremely shady. And two, most importantly, importantly, when they ended up installing this inside of the game, it ended up completely ruining people's mod support. And this is something extremely important, especially if you're playing a really old game, like Resident Evil. This is a game that ended up coming out around 2013, so it probably doesn't have all of the brand new modern settings. A good example is something like widescreen. If you have a brand new super expensive widescreen monitor, you're obviously going to want to use it. But since this game is so old, it probably doesn't support the field of view feature. That's where a mod comes in. You can basically go and install a mod, which basically allows you to utilize widescreen. And when this DRM ended up getting installed, all of that just stopped working for people. Now, a lot of people were wondering, why did Capcom do something like this? And the main theory that ended up going around is that Capcom is trying to get revenge. The main reason why people ended up coming up with this is because not so long ago, last year, there was a tournament, a Street Fighter 6 tournament, and one of the announcers forgot to take off his nude Chun-Li mod. So basically, for the past couple of seconds, everyone who ended up watching that live stream ended up getting jump scared with seeing Chun-Li's milkers. Now, although that was an extremely funny moment and a lot of people were laughing at it and making jokes about it, Capcom was not happy about that at all, which makes sense. Obviously, if you're presenting your game, you're going to want it to look extremely nice, and you don't want something like this to basically go and happen. So the main theory going around is that Capcom was so pissed off that this ended up happening, they decided to declare war on all mods, and they were trying to just get rid of them. Now, this is a theory that really makes no sense, and it's just super dumb. This is probably something that someone just made up on Twitter because they knew we'll get a lot of views, and obviously everyone was just gonna go with it because that just sounds absolutely insane, but that's definitely not happening. Why I say that? Because Capcom has been doing this for an extremely long time. Ever since 2019, Capcom has just been going absolutely crazy trying to take down all kind of spicy mods. They just don't like when people do that at all. Even the brand new DRM that everyone is talking about, it seems like this is something that Capcom has been using for quite a long time now, because one of the biggest modders in this whole space, Fluffy, ended up confirming that. He ended up releasing an article talking about this whole situation, and he ended up saying that these DRMs are in a lot of older Capcom games. So this makes this situation even more confusing. Why are they doing something like this, and why are they also installing this DRM? And I do have a couple of theories. Now first, let's start with the DRM. I said those 3 letters in such a short period of time, it doesn't even seem real anymore. I think the main reason why they installed that is because the Nuvo is extremely expensive. So it looks like when they finally run out and they can't use that anymore, they just go and use this one, which seems to be way more cheaper. Also in the article, the modder ended up saying that he thinks the reason why Capcom is doing stuff like this isn't to necessarily stop the creation of mods. It seems like they're just trying to do this so they can stop people from pirating their games, which is something that I could completely understand because it looks like to them, a lot of mods are still working in older Capcom games that have this DRM installed. Even with that news, it doesn't change the fact that this is something extremely scummy and Capcom should not be doing this at all. It's a 10-year-old game. People has probably already modded it, they probably already emulated it, and they definitely have pirated it already. So I don't think you should be adding something this invasive inside of a game that's that old, ruining the experience of your actual paying customer. Anyway, that's it. This is just something that I want to talk about. My name is Lua. You have a good day or night. See ya.